Hey guys, my name is Serena. Welcome back to my channel. Today I am finally doing my spring wrap-up 2018. So, I read 12 books according to Goodreads. 7 of these were university books, they were sociology books, and they needed to be read and studied. Finally, I'm done with that because I was over sociology, but I am especially going to talk about the other 5 books. 4 of them were novels and the other one was a short story. I know that in 3 months that is not a lot. In my winter wrap-up, I talked about a lot of books, but I am happy either way because I managed to read these books in this time. First of all, I read/finished Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, Illustrated Edition. What do I have to say about this book? It's amazing. It's a reread and I've never reread any book except for this one. So I really wanted to read this edition. The illustrations are beautiful. They're by Jim Kay. I got emotional reading this book because even though I have not read this book when I was a kid, I read them when I was like 16 maybe. I am almost 21 now, and rereading this brought so many emotions and I just love this series. Next, I read Fangirl in 24 hours, as you may or may not know because I've uploaded a vlog about this book, and I'm glad that I read this book in spring because it's a very cute and light read. It's about this girl Kath who is, shy in her first year of university, and she writes fan fiction, and I really enjoyed this read. It's not the best ever. Oh, by the way, I rated Harry Potter, of course, 5 stars, and this one I rated, I think, 4. It was just a cute contemporary read. I cannot wait to read more of Rainbow Rowell's books. Oh, by the way, I read every book on my spring TBR except for 2. Carry On. I have not read this yet. I didn't have the time, but I really want to in summer. And Shadow Scale. I read half of this book and it's huge. Don't mind my nail file / bookmark, but it is huge. It's 600 pages and I'm halfway through, so I'm happy I read half of this season. I'm actually really enjoying this so far. While in the first book, Serafina, it was more about, Serafina solving a mystery in her city. In this book, we see Serafina traveling this world, and I am really enjoying the plot and seeing the world, and I'll talk about it more in another wrap-up when I finish this, obviously. Back to the books that I've actually read. I read, finally, Serena by Ron Rash. This book, I gave it 3 stars. It was interesting because I do not read a lot of historical fiction, and this is an historical fiction set in the 1920s, the late 1920s, and it's interesting because it's a theme that I never read about. It's about this this couple, Serena Pemberton and George. Yeah, basically this couple has a timber empire. I never read anything about, timber, of like an industry about that, and it was an interesting read because I do not want to spoil this, but Serena, she's crazy. I knew how it was going to end. I had that feeling, but I do recommend this. After I read this, I went on YouTube and saw a couple of reviews, and if I remember correctly, people say that this is inspired, I don't know, by Macbeth by William Shakespeare. So I was shocked and when I heard about that, because I knew the story of Macbeth, but it didn't come into my mind, and then it just clicked and I thought, yeah, it makes sense now. Sometimes it was slow because they were, the workers who talked about, timber and stuff, and those parts were boring, but the rest of it was very good actually, so I recommend this. And lastly, finally, I read Cinder by Marissa Meyer, and I give this 5 stars. It was great. I don't know why I haven't read this before, because it is a great story. I love fairy tales. I love the idea of Cinderella being a cyborg, and I just love the plot. And by the way, I predicted the plot. I knew how this was going to end since, you know, the first 50 pages. And I wrote this on Twitter, by the way, and yes, I was right. I predicted the ending, but I don't care because I like the story. The plot was predictable, yes, but I just love fairy tales. Sometimes when the plot is predictable, I do not end up liking it, but for this one, I really did, and I cannot wait to continue on with the series, honestly. I love Aiko. Aiko is so cute. I really like the relationship too, because usually I do not find good relationships in books, and when I do, I just love them. I'm not a romantic either, so I like this relationship, and yeah, I just really like this book. I keep saying I liked it, I liked it, I liked it. And the short story that I read was at the end of this book, and it was Glitches, and I think that this short story is going to be in Stars Above, you know, the collection of short stories as well, but you know, I read it and I gave it 5 stars as well, because I usually don't give short stories 5 stars because there isn't enough. But I was just immersed in the story, so I really love the short one. And as I said, I love Aiko and I want to know more about this world. So yeah guys, those were all the books that I've read / studied this season, and hopefully next season I'll read much more since I'm in vacation. And yeah, I'll see you in my next video, which will be a summer TBR. Bye guys!